Welcome back to this matchup right here between WhiteRa and Elfi from Team ASUS. Elfi currently up one game in the best of 5 series. Bronze match with $1,000 on the line for the winner.
$1,000 on the line, so a lot of money for a PvP, especially in such a delicate matchup that it is. And the next map, as you did say before that ad break, is on Terminus SE.
Yes, it is, and here we go. WhiteRa in the blue trunks to the bottom of this map. He is from Team Thermaltake Esports, playing Protoss versus his opponent from Team ASUS. It is Elfi in the red trunks, playing Protoss to the west.
And we'll have to see what Elfi has in store here. And can WhiteRa defend? That should be the moral of this series, because that's what he has to do. As long as he can defend whatever Elfi throws at him, he technically should be able to glide through the rest of the series, but in that first game, couldn't quite defend against it, and I did like taking off the gas just so he could build all those pylons all over the place to prevent WhiteRa from defending. And I would not be surprised to see some form of fake aggression in this game. I like that kind of mentality in a series. Show aggression, potentially show it in the second game, and then pull back and be super greedy.
Yeah, it was unfortunate that last game WhiteRa's strategy of getting the 3 Stalkers out was ineffective. The fact of the matter is the probe remained in the base and was able to establish a pylon there, but even then, if you don't kill the probe and then there are 4 pylons at the back of your mineral line, what do? You simply cannot kill them with 2 gateways worth of units. You don't have enough damage output. So that was horrendous there for WhiteRa and set him back for the entire game. Elfi might try the same thing. It's not inconceivable. He tends to execute the same strategy until he knows that it doesn't work, which is, of course, effective in the best of 5 matchup, more so than anything else. So we'll see what we find out from Elfi soon enough. Standard openings on both sides to be expected from PvP. 12
gateway from Elfi and 2 chrono boosts. We have 13 gateway and 3 chrono boosts from WhiteRa. Already taking that defensive position just by the way he's delayed that gateway a little bit and thrown that 3rd chrono boost into the Nexus. And we'll have to see what Elfi is doing, because he has that option to be aggressive. And he has thrown down that Cyber now, not before the second pylon in this regard. And you can see the difference, the Cyber core of WhiteRa only just now going down. And will he be rushing to that 2 Stalkers again? It is very good against the way that Elfi does like to play, especially on a map this big. You have a lot more availability to actually pick off that probe before it comes into the base.
Yep, it looks like Elfi's going to get pretty fortunate with his scouting, though. He will find his opponents. But will he be able to get any pylons down in order to execute that? It will most likely be, as you've said, the repeated build of 2 gateways backed up by 3 Stalkers. Chrono boost there. You notice he's saving up at least 2 chrono boosts worth there, and then he'll start to work on his warp gate once he gets these Stalkers out there. He's got to keep an eye on that probe, though. It's sneaky, it's tricksy. It might sneak something into the back of the base there.
Yeah, he doesn't have enough resources, and he hasn't taken off gas either right now. He did chrono boost into the gateway again, so I don't think we are going to see any aggression from Elfi in this game, especially as that probe is going to leave pretty much shortly. Oh, excellent from WhiteRa. Manages to sneak in again with that probe into Elfi's base. Sees the chrono boost on the gateway and not onto the Nexus. He didn't quite scout the second gas, but simply because of where that chrono boost had been spent, he knows that aggression isn't coming. So WhiteRa may even decide to go 3 gateway into an expansion play, or he could turn the heat on himself and go for that warp prism from that robotics facility.
Yeah, would like to see that, certainly, and the warp prism is a possibility considering they're in fairly close air positions, relatively speaking.
And Elfi could be in a little bit of trouble here. I mean, he is bringing a second Stalker all the way behind, but 3 Stalkers against a Stalker, Zealot, and Probe. Well, guess who wins? The 3 Stalkers.
Pretty much.
And as long as WhiteRa controls this well, he will be able to out-micro the Zealot and then eventually pick off this Stalker.
Yeah, shouldn't have too much of a problem with that. Pulling that one all the way back, perhaps even a little bit too overcautious there, but he keeps it alive, and that's all that really matters. The pylon will go down, and 2 Stalker versus 3, well, that's simply not going to happen. And 1 Stalker goes down, but the second driven away. And that pylon is coming up, but there really isn't a follow-up to that for Elfi at the moment.
Oh, and look at that. WhiteRa throws down 4, an additional 2 gateways now into his main. And I'm intrigued to see, does he want to throw down that robotics facility so he could use that warp prism, or is he just going to use it to expand from? That may be an option for him now as he does move down. He is going to expand on this. He's just making ultra sure that he does have enough units to hold any aggression if Elfi decided to do so.
Yep. WhiteRa doesn't really know anything about the gateway count, and that pylon could have very much been indicative of a 4-gateway play. WhiteRa may have thought that, but it was easily defeated, and perhaps he's now getting the impression that really that was not going to happen. The gateway count was not there for Elfi to do that, and it was just a little bit of fake pressure there to try and draw his opponent out and get a better feel for WhiteRa's army composition and the build that's coming in.
And now, oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say we're going to see an Immortal here from Elfi.
And basically, WhiteRa has this pretty strong advantage right now. He's taken this expansion. Elfi is going to finally see it with the Observer as it does eventually come down. But he has the same tech now almost as Elfi, aside from that robotics bay, which has come down. Elfi is going to be wanting to go for a Warp Prism and may decide to get speed as well, or just go for Colossus straight up. And we'll have to see what it does decide to do. It's going to come down again to can WhiteRa defend on multiple fronts. Elfi has now spotted that expansion. He is not deciding to take his own expansion because he would be playing from behind here. So we are going to have to see WhiteRa defend. He has an Immortal of his own. It will come down, though, to can he force field. If it does come down to a fight outside the natural, WhiteRa needs to force field to keep the Zealots, because Elfi will naturally be Zealot heavy away from the Immortal to make sure that Immortal can get that damage output onto a Colossus.
Yeah, if that goes down very, very rapidly, then it will not contribute to the fight in any way, shape, or form, and Zealots do tend to chop their way through Immortals quite easily. This is knife edge one way or the other, and PvP tends to be. WhiteRa with the economic advantage at present, and we've got Elfi just gearing up to do damage in order to equalize.
Yeah, and look at this War Prism coming down for Elfi, surprisingly, and WhiteRa already moving Stalkers towards the back of his base. He has a vision in the front, so he knows the only way Elfi could potentially come is from the back. So he does have some Stalkers in place. WhiteRa moves 4 Stalkers now from the middle, and this is going to be difficult. 4-gate Warp Prism with Colossus as well is very, very good against what WhiteRa is doing now. His defense has to be amazing. He has to defend on the front, and at the same time has to clear out 4 Zealots in his mineral line in the main.
Yeah, well, WhiteRa was able to pick off the advancing probe there, so that slowed down this push somewhat. He'll need to bring in another probe if he wants to put down a pylon. Funny thing is, he hasn't actually sent it over yet. A little bit of an engagement there, and WhiteRa getting caught out with at least one of those Stalkers. Nicely done there by Elfi, and then trampling over.
Prism.
Yep, here it is, into the mineral line. We've got Zealots driving those away. He's going to instantly try and retreat. No aggressive pylon yet for Elfi because of losing that probe there, so that's taking a lot more time. Giving WhiteRa potentially the opportunity to clean this up. Drives them away, not able to kill the Warp Prism or any Zealots as of yet, though.
Oh, and here comes the front, and WhiteRa has to use that Force Field or Guardian Shield as well, but Force Field to keep those Zealots away. 2 Immortals are pretty good against this. There is an Immortal of Elfi's as well, and WhiteRa is defending the back of his base at the same time.
Yeah, he's holding against this quite well, but there's a bunch of Zealots now warping in and going for those Immortals. WhiteRa with 3 Immortals in play, and Elfi with a significant number of Zealots. WhiteRa keeping all of those Immortals alive. There's the drop to the back as well, which is being cleaned up there by WhiteRa, but he's trying to micro on both fronts simultaneously, which makes it very, very difficult indeed. That Immortal now out of position and eliminated. Only 2 Immortals left there. This drop has been cleaned up. WhiteRa can now focus on the engagement at the front of his natural, but he is losing here to Elfi, who is driving him back again and again. GG, ladies and gentlemen.
And that's what happens if you let the Zealots get into your army. It basically messes with the pathing of the Immortal. It's doing what it can't do its job. It can't attack a Stalker. It can't attack a Colossus because the Immortals are surrounding it. It's getting pulled back all the time. And it takes a lot of damage from a Zealot as well. And WhiteRa not quite defending as well as he could have. And Elfi, again, aggressively taking out WhiteRa. WhiteRa not able to defend.
Oh, he found another variant there. He's coming up with all sorts of crazy one-base builds at the moment, which WhiteRa doesn't seem to be able to deal with at present. Currently 2 games down, but as we've seen, that's when he is the most dangerous. We'll be right back, folks, with the next game in this series from the ASUS ROG tournament right here from the DigiExpo in Helsinki, Finland.